Hello everyone, and welcome. Let's talk about something we all struggle with at some point: procrastination. That insidious thief of time, that silent saboteur of our dreams. Today, we're not just going to tiptoe around the issue, we're going to confront it head-on, dissecting it, understanding it, and ultimately conquering it. This isn't about quick fixes or superficial solutions. This is about a deep dive into the very nature of procrastination and the path towards consistent, sustainable productivity. My own journey with procrastination wasn't a brief dalliance, it was a long, complex, and often frustrating relationship. I knew, intellectually, that procrastination was detrimental, that it was stealing my time, my energy, and ultimately my potential. Yet, I found myself repeatedly falling into its alluring trap. The allure of instant gratification, the seductive whisper of "I'll do it later," proved far too powerful for my willpower to resist. It wasn't just about laziness, though that certainly played a role. It was a far more nuanced struggle, a complex interplay of fear, self-doubt, and a crippling sense of being overwhelmed. The sheer magnitude of tasks often felt insurmountable, leaving me paralyzed by indecision and inaction. I'd stare at a daunting project, the weight of its unfinished potential pressing down on me, and the easiest option, doing nothing, felt like the only feasible one. The looming deadlines, the ever-growing pile of unfinished work, the nagging feeling of inadequacy, these were my constant companions. Sleepless nights were punctuated by the anxious churning of my mind, replaying missed opportunities, berating myself for my lack of discipline. The guilt and self-recrimination were relentless, a vicious cycle that fueled further procrastination. It was a lonely battle, fought in the silent trenches of my own mind, a war I felt increasingly ill-equipped to win. I remember the sinking feeling in my stomach as I'd fall further and further behind, the mounting pressure threatening to crush me. The missed deadlines, the hastily completed work, the constant feeling of being a step behind, it all contributed to a sense of profound inadequacy. I questioned my abilities, my worth, my very future. Procrastination wasn't just hindering my productivity, it was eroding my self-esteem, poisoning my confidence, and casting a long shadow over every aspect of my life. This wasn't just about missed deadlines and incomplete projects, it was about a fundamental lack of self-respect. I was disrespecting my time, my talents, and my potential. I was betraying myself, allowing fear and doubt to dictate my actions, to hold me captive in a cycle of self-sabotage. The frustration was immense, the feeling of being trapped in a never-ending loop of procrastination and regret was almost unbearable. But then, something shifted. A spark of self-awareness ignited within me, a realization that I had the power to change my situation. I understood that my procrastination wasn't a character flaw, but a symptom of deeper issues I could address and overcome. This wasn't a battle I was destined to lose, this was a challenge I could conquer. And that's what this journey is all about: my personal transformation from chronic procrastination to consistent productivity, a transformation I'll share with you step by step, offering insights and strategies that helped me break free from the shackles of procrastination and reclaim my life. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every ounce of effort, and I'm confident that you can achieve the same results. So let's embark on this journey together. Let's tackle procrastination head-on, and discover the path to a more productive and fulfilling life. Let's begin. The weight of undone tasks, a constant, suffocating pressure. That was my reality for years. A mountain of responsibilities loomed, each day a fresh avalanche of deadlines and commitments threatening to bury me alive. It wasn't just laziness, it was a paralyzing fear, a crippling self-doubt that whispered insidious lies, convincing me I wasn't capable, that I wasn't enough. The simplest tasks, responding to an email, making a phone call, even just starting a project, felt like scaling Everest. The looming deadlines weren't just dates on a calendar, they were monuments to my perceived failures, each missed deadline a fresh wound on my already fragile self-esteem. The feeling of being constantly behind was a relentless companion, a shadow that stretched long and dark across every aspect of my life. I lived in a perpetual state of catch-up, always chasing a receding horizon of accomplishment. The sense of urgency was never-ending, a gnawing anxiety that kept me perpetually on edge. Sleep became a battlefield, my mind a chaotic arena where unfinished projects clashed with looming responsibilities. Even moments of supposed rest were punctuated by the persistent thrum of guilt, a constant reminder of the ever-growing pile of neglected responsibilities. It wasn't just about work, it seeped into every corner of my existence. Simple errands became monumental tasks, postponed indefinitely. Social engagements were avoided, replaced by the hollow comfort of isolation, and the self-imposed prison of my own procrastination. The joy of spontaneous moments, the pleasure of connection, were replaced by the dull ache of regret and the crushing weight of unfulfilled potential. My relationships suffered, strained by my unreliability, and the emotional distance created by my constant avoidance. The simple act of answering a text message felt like a Herculean effort, a testament to my inability to manage even the most mundane aspects of daily life. The guilt was a heavy cloak, weighing me down, stifling my creativity and ambition. I felt like a fraud, a pretender perpetually on the verge of exposure. The fear of failure wasn't just abstract, it was a tangible entity, a constant threat that kept me trapped in a cycle of inaction and self-recrimination. Every unfinished project was a stark reminder of my perceived inadequacy, a testament to my inability to meet the expectations I placed upon myself. The pressure to perform, to succeed, became a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure, a vicious cycle that seemed impossible to break. The feeling of being overwhelmed wasn't simply a matter of too much to do, it was a profound sense of being lost, adrift in a sea of unfulfilled promises and unmet obligations. The sheer volume of tasks felt insurmountable, an endless expanse of work that stretched out before me, a seemingly impossible challenge. It wasn't just the quantity of work, it was the quality of my perception, the distorted lens through which I viewed my capabilities. I magnified the challenges, minimized my strengths, and convinced myself that I was incapable of ever catching up, of ever achieving a sense of peace and accomplishment. This wasn't a temporary slump, this was a deeply ingrained pattern, a way of life that had become so normalized, so ingrained in my psyche, that I barely registered its destructive nature. The constant state of being behind wasn't just inconvenient, it was emotionally and mentally exhausting. It drained my energy, sapped my motivation, and left me feeling depleted and defeated. The weight of uncompleted tasks was more than just a burden, it was a crushing weight that threatened to suffocate my spirit, to extinguish the flame of my ambition. I felt trapped, a prisoner in my own mind, held captive by the invisible bars of my own procrastination. It was a dark, desolate place, a lonely existence defined by a constant state of incompletion, and the nagging feeling that I was perpetually falling short. I was drowning in a sea of my own making, and I desperately needed a lifeline. It wasn't just the lost hours, the deadlines missed, the nagging sense of being perpetually behind. No, procrastination had sunk its claws far deeper than that. It was the missed opportunities, the unrealized potential, the slow, insidious erosion of my self-esteem. The weight of undone tasks pressed down, not just on my schedule, but on my spirit, a constant, low hum of anxiety that permeated every aspect of my life. I remember the feeling vividly, that suffocating blanket of guilt, the gnawing self-doubt that whispered insidious lies in the quiet moments. The projects that could have been masterpieces, reduced to half-finished sketches, gathering dust in the digital graveyard of my hard drive. The relationships strained by my unreliability, the trust fractured by broken promises. The dreams, once vibrant and full of promise, now dulled and fading, like an old photograph left out in the sun. Procrastination wasn't just a time management problem, it was a self-sabotage operation, a relentless inner critic undermining my ambitions. It was the subtle poison that seeped into my confidence, leaving me feeling inadequate, incapable, a fraud. The missed promotions, the unfulfilled collaborations, the sense of constantly playing catch-up, these weren't just consequences of laziness, they were the tangible manifestations of a deeper, more insidious problem. It was the missed flight to that dream conference, the lost chance to network with industry leaders, the opportunity to learn and grow that slipped through my fingers like grains of sand. It was the sleepless nights, filled with the agonizing awareness of my own procrastination, the relentless self-flagellation that left me drained and depleted. The cost wasn't just measured in minutes and hours, but in the erosion of my potential, the missed milestones, the shattered dreams. It was the price of inaction, a heavy toll extracted not just from my schedule, but from my very soul. It was a silent, insidious thief, stealing not just my time, but my peace of mind, my self-respect, and my belief in my own capabilities. The financial repercussions were significant, of course. Missed deadlines meant lost income, missed opportunities meant lost potential earnings. But the true cost of procrastination ran far deeper, penetrating the very fabric of my being. It was the emotional toll, the psychological burden, the constant undercurrent of self-recrimination that weighed me down. This wasn't just about efficiency or organization. This was about self-worth, about recognizing my own value, and about finally breaking free from the shackles of self-imposed limitations. The turning point wasn't a sudden epiphany, but a slow dawning realization that the price of procrastination was far too high, a price paid not just in lost time, but in lost opportunities, lost relationships, and a profound loss of self-respect. It was a cost I could no longer afford to pay. And that's when I knew I had to change. The journey to conquering procrastination began not with action, but with understanding. It wasn't about brute force willpower, but about unearthing the root causes, the hidden triggers that propelled me into that familiar, paralyzing inertia. For years, I'd simply labeled myself a procrastinator, a lazy individual lacking self-discipline. But that was a superficial diagnosis, a symptom, not the disease itself. The real work began when I dared to delve deeper, to confront the uncomfortable truths about my own behavior. It wasn't a single, monolithic reason, but a complex interplay of factors, a tangled web of anxieties, fears, and ingrained habits. First, I identified perfectionism as a major culprit. The fear of not meeting impossibly high standards often paralyzed me before I even began. A looming project, a daunting task, became a mountain insurmountable, not because it was inherently difficult, but because the perceived risk of failure was overwhelming. The fear of imperfection became a far greater obstacle than the task itself. I would spend hours, days even, agonizing over the minutiae, endlessly refining and revising, often to the point of complete stagnation. The pursuit of flawlessness became a self-defeating strategy, a roadblock to actual progress. Then there was the insidious allure of instant gratification. The short-term dopamine rush of social media, the mindless scrolling, the addictive pull of entertainment, these were my siren songs, luring me away from the more challenging, but ultimately more rewarding, tasks at hand. The immediate pleasure of distraction overshadowed the long-term benefits of focused work. It was a constant battle against the seductive whispers of instant gratification, a battle I often lost. I needed to understand that these distractions weren't mere time wasters, but active saboteurs, hijacking my focus and stealing my precious time. Another significant trigger was a lack of clarity. Vague, poorly defined goals were breeding grounds for procrastination. When a task felt amorphous, overwhelming in its lack of structure, it was easier to avoid it altogether. The sheer uncertainty, the lack of a clear path forward, fueled my inertia. It wasn't the complexity of the task itself, but the lack of a manageable plan, a roadmap to success. I needed to break down those nebulous assignments into smaller, more manageable steps, transforming the daunting mountain into a series of manageable hills. Furthermore, I recognized the role of negative self-talk. The inner critic, that relentless voice whispering doubts and insecurities, often sabotaged my efforts before they even began. "You're not good enough," it would hiss. "You'll fail anyway." These insidious messages of self-doubt created a climate of fear and self-sabotage. I had to learn to challenge these negative narratives, to replace self-criticism with self-compassion and realistic self-assessment. To silence that inner critic, I needed to cultivate a more supportive and encouraging internal dialogue. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, I uncovered the underlying anxiety that fueled much of my procrastination. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not living up to expectations, these anxieties were often unspoken, unconscious drivers of my avoidance behaviors. It was a deeply ingrained pattern, a defense mechanism to shield myself from the potential pain of disappointment. But avoidance, I realized, only prolonged the suffering. Facing these fears, acknowledging them, and developing strategies to cope with them, was essential to breaking free from the cycle of procrastination. Identifying these triggers wasn't a simple, one-time event. It was an ongoing process of self-reflection, a continuous journey of self-discovery. It required honest introspection, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and a commitment to understanding the complex interplay of factors that contributed to my procrastination. But this deep dive into the root causes was crucial. It was the foundation upon which I built my path to lasting productivity. Only by understanding why I procrastinated could I begin to effectively stop procrastinating. And that understanding, that self-awareness, was the first, and arguably most important, step in my transformation. Ever felt overwhelmed by a mountain of tasks, so immense it paralyzed you before you even began? That feeling, that crippling inertia, is the enemy of productivity. We've all been there. The looming deadline, the sprawling project, the sheer volume of work stretching before us like an endless desert. It's enough to make anyone want to bury their head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. But what if I told you there's a simple yet powerful technique that can transform that daunting mountain into a series of manageable foothills? This is where the magic of task decomposition comes into play. Breaking down large, complex tasks into smaller, more digestible chunks is the cornerstone of effective time management. It's about shifting your perspective from the overwhelming totality of the project to the achievable satisfaction of completing individual, bite-sized pieces. Instead of staring up at the Everest of your to-do list, you're tackling a series of manageable climbs. Each summit conquered, no matter how small, fuels your momentum, propelling you forward with renewed energy and confidence. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't attempt to construct the entire structure in one go, would you? You'd start with the foundation, then the framing, then the roofing, and so on. Each stage is a smaller, more manageable task contributing to the overall goal. Procrastination often stems from the feeling of being overwhelmed by the sheer scale of a project. By breaking it down, you eliminate that paralyzing feeling, replacing it with a sense of controlled progress and accomplishment. Let's take a hypothetical example. Let's say you're tasked with writing a 20-page research paper. The sheer thought of it might send shivers down your spine. But what if we break it down? First, we could research the topic. Then, we could create an outline. Following that, we could write a draft of the introduction. Next, we tackle each section individually, focusing on a few paragraphs at a time. Then, we move on to the conclusion. Finally, we edit and proofread. Suddenly, a daunting 20-page paper becomes a series of manageable writing sprints. This principle applies to virtually any task, no matter how complex. Planning a wedding. Break it down into smaller tasks like booking a venue, choosing a caterer, sending invitations, and so on. Learning a new language. Focus on mastering individual vocabulary sets and grammatical structures before tackling full conversations. Cleaning your entire house. Break it down room by room, task by task. The key is to identify the individual components of the larger task and tackle them one by one. The beauty of this approach lies not just in its practicality, but also in its psychological impact. Each small victory, each completed chunk, provides a powerful sense of accomplishment. This positive reinforcement fuels your motivation, keeping you engaged and preventing you from falling prey to procrastination. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of achievement, where each small success builds upon the last, propelling you towards the ultimate goal. Don't underestimate the power of small wins. They are the building blocks of significant achievements. They are the stepping stones that carry you across the river of procrastination to the fertile lands of productivity. Embrace the power of task decomposition. It's not just about managing your time, it's about managing your mindset. It's about transforming overwhelming tasks into a series of achievable milestones, each one bringing you closer to your ultimate objective. It's about turning that daunting mountain into a series of manageable, rewarding climbs, one step at a time. So take that giant task, break it down, and conquer it piece by piece. You'll be amazed at how much you can achieve when you approach your work with this focused and strategic approach. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, or in this case, a single, manageable task. And as you complete each one, you'll feel the satisfying sense of progress propelling you toward ultimate success. The feeling of accomplishment will become a powerful motivator, driving you forward with renewed energy and a sense of purpose. Break it down. Conquer it. Celebrate your progress. You've got this. The sheer volume of tasks looming ahead, a mountain range of to-dos, often felt insurmountable. I was drowning in a sea of obligations, each one whispering insidious promises of procrastination. But then, a shift occurred, a tectonic plate of understanding that reshaped my approach to productivity. It wasn't about doing everything, it was about doing the right things. Prioritization became my compass, my guiding star in the vast, often chaotic, landscape of my workload. This wasn't some magical formula, some secret productivity hack whispered by gurus. It was a simple, yet profoundly effective principle, tackling the most important tasks first. It's the difference between frantically extinguishing small fires, only to be overwhelmed by a raging inferno later, and strategically focusing on the core blaze, preventing it from spreading. Before this revelation, my days were a whirlwind of busy work, a frantic dance between urgent and important. I'd spend hours on trivial tasks, only to find the truly significant ones left undone, hanging like a sword of Damocles over my head. The constant feeling of being behind, of perpetually chasing my tail, was exhausting. But by prioritizing, by identifying the tasks that truly mattered, that directly contributed to my long-term goals, I found a sense of control I'd never experienced before. It was like clearing the brush from a forest path, revealing a clear, straight route to my destination. How did I identify these crucial tasks? It wasn't always easy. It required self-reflection, a deep dive into my goals and priorities. I started by asking myself, what will have the biggest impact? What will move the needle the most? What will bring me closer to my overarching objectives? These questions became my guiding principles, my filters for sorting through the daily deluge of tasks. The Eisenhower matrix, that simple yet powerful tool, became my daily companion. Categorizing tasks as urgent/important, important/not urgent, urgent/not important, and neither urgent nor important, provided a structured framework for prioritizing. This allowed me to focus my energy on the quadrant where true progress resided, the important and urgent tasks. The not-so-urgent but important tasks, those long-term goals, found a dedicated place in my schedule, preventing them from being indefinitely postponed. And the results were nothing short of transformative. The feeling of being overwhelmed began to dissipate. The constant pressure, the nagging sense of incompletion, gradually faded. Replacing it was a sense of calm, a quiet confidence that came from knowing I was working on what truly mattered. My efficiency skyrocketed. I accomplished more in a single day than I had in an entire week before. Deadlines, once a source of constant anxiety, became achievable milestones. It wasn't just about efficiency, though. Prioritization had a profound impact on my overall well-being. The sense of accomplishment that came from consistently tackling the most important tasks was incredibly rewarding. It fueled my motivation, creating a positive feedback loop that further enhanced my productivity. The feeling of progress, of moving steadily towards my goals, was immensely satisfying. It was a far cry from the nagging guilt and self-recrimination that had previously been my constant companions. The key, I discovered, wasn't just about identifying the most important tasks, but also about being realistic about what I could accomplish in a given time frame. Overcommitting, trying to cram too much into a single day, was a recipe for disaster. Learning to say no, to politely decline tasks that didn't align with my priorities, was a crucial skill I developed. Prioritization wasn't a one-time fix, a magic bullet to solve all my productivity woes. It was an ongoing process, a continuous evaluation of my tasks, my goals, and my capacity. It required discipline, consistency, and a willingness to adapt my approach as my circumstances changed. But the rewards far outweighed the effort. The clarity, the sense of control, the increased efficiency, these were the tangible benefits of learning to prioritize. It wasn't just about getting more done, it was about getting the right things done. And that, my friends, made all the difference. It fundamentally altered my relationship with work, transforming it from a source of stress and anxiety into a path of purposeful action and meaningful achievement. This shift in perspective, this conscious prioritization, was the bedrock upon which I built my new, more productive self. It's a lesson I carry with me every day, a cornerstone of my ongoing journey towards consistent productivity. And it's a lesson I hope you'll take to heart and implement in your own lives. Time blocking. The very phrase might sound rigid, even restrictive. But for me, it became the cornerstone of my productivity revolution. It wasn't about cramming my schedule tighter, it was about reclaiming control over my time, about consciously shaping my day instead of letting it shape me. Before time blocking, my days were a chaotic blur of half-finished tasks and a nagging sense of inadequacy. I'd start one thing, get distracted, switch to something else, and end up feeling utterly unproductive despite spending hours at my desk. The constant switching, the mental juggling act, it was exhausting. Time blocking, however, brought a sense of order, a welcome structure to my otherwise unruly schedule. It wasn't about rigid adherence to a minute-by-minute schedule, it was more about creating dedicated blocks of time for specific tasks. I started small, allocating specific hours for specific projects. For instance, Mondays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. became my dedicated writing block. Tuesdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. were reserved for responding to emails and client inquiries. Wednesdays, I blocked out a chunk of time for research and brainstorming. This wasn't an inflexible prison, it was a framework, a helpful guide to navigate my workday. The beauty of time blocking lies in its simplicity. It's about making conscious choices about how you spend your time, about prioritizing tasks based on their importance and urgency. It forced me to confront my procrastination head-on. When I knew I had a specific block of time allocated for a particular task, I was less likely to put it off. The looming deadline, the pressure to fit everything into that allotted time, surprisingly acted as a powerful motivator. It spurred me into action, encouraging focus and efficiency. The sense of urgency wasn't overwhelming, it was invigorating. It wasn't a perfect system from the start. There were days when I slipped, when I found myself drifting away from my scheduled tasks. But the very act of scheduling forced me to become more aware of my time management habits. I began to identify patterns, to understand my peak productivity periods, and to tailor my schedule accordingly. I learned to adjust my blocks, to be flexible, to account for unforeseen delays. It was an iterative process, a continuous refinement of my approach, based on observation, experimentation, and honest self-assessment. The initial resistance I felt towards time blocking gradually faded as I experienced its benefits. The sense of accomplishment at the end of a day, knowing I had systematically tackled my tasks according to my plan, was incredibly rewarding. The reduced stress, the decreased feeling of being overwhelmed, these were tangible results that solidified my commitment to this method. Time blocking didn't eliminate procrastination completely, but it significantly reduced its power over me. It provided a structure, a framework, within which I could work more effectively, more efficiently, and ultimately, more productively. It wasn't just about scheduling tasks, it was about scheduling breaks. I learned the importance of incorporating short breaks throughout my workday, allowing myself time to recharge and refocus. These breaks weren't frivolous distractions, they were essential components of my productivity strategy. I discovered that short, regular breaks were far more effective than trying to push through exhaustion. The breaks allowed me to return to my tasks with renewed energy and concentration. Time blocking also helped me to prioritize tasks effectively. By allocating larger blocks of time to my most important tasks, I ensured that they received the attention they deserved. This was crucial for my workflow. It meant that I wasn't constantly shifting between trivial matters and important projects, allowing for deeper focus and higher quality output. This shift in approach dramatically improved my overall productivity and reduced the feeling of being perpetually behind. The clarity and focus it provided were invaluable. Moreover, time blocking offered a visual representation of my workload, allowing me to see exactly what I had accomplished and what still needed to be done. This visual clarity helped me to stay motivated and on track. The sense of progress of checking tasks off my list was immensely satisfying. It provided a sense of control and accomplishment that was previously lacking in my chaotic workflow. This visual representation fostered a sense of order and control, creating a positive feedback loop that encouraged further productivity. It wasn't a magical cure-all, a sudden transformation from procrastination to perfection. But time blocking provided a structured approach, a powerful tool to help me manage my time more effectively. It wasn't about forcing myself to stick to a rigid schedule. It was about creating a framework, a system to guide my work and help me stay focused. It was about reclaiming my time, about choosing how I spent it, instead of letting it slip away in a haze of unfulfilled intentions. And that, for me, was a truly transformative experience. It was about taking control, not of time itself, but of my relationship with time. It was about mastering the art of working with time, not against it. The battle against procrastination isn't just about managing time, it's about mastering your environment. Step 5, eliminating distractions, is where the rubber meets the road. Think of your workspace as a sanctuary, a carefully crafted haven of focus, shielded from the relentless onslaught of modern life's interruptions. This isn't about becoming a hermit, it's about conscious creation of a space designed for peak performance. Imagine this: you're finally ready to tackle that looming project, the one that's been lurking in the shadows of your to-do list, a silent, nagging presence. You sit down, intent on conquering it, only to find your focus splintering under the weight of incessant notifications, the siren call of social media, the persistent hum of background noise. This is the enemy. This is what we're fighting against. Eliminating distractions isn't about complete isolation, it's about strategic reduction. It's about identifying your personal kryptonite, those specific triggers that derail your concentration and send you spiraling down the rabbit hole of unproductive activities. For some, it might be the ever-present glow of their smartphone, a constant stream of updates and alerts vying for attention. For others, it's the chaotic clutter of a messy workspace, a visual representation of mental chaos. For me, it was the persistent chatter of colleagues, a low-level hum of distraction that subtly undermined my focus. The key is self-awareness. Take time to truly understand what throws you off track. Keep a journal, noting the times you find yourself drifting from your tasks, and what caused the distraction. Once you've identified your weaknesses, you can begin to build your defenses. Start with the obvious culprits. Turn off notifications on your phone, or better yet, put it in another room, out of sight and out of mind. Close unnecessary browser tabs, silencing the seductive whispers of unread emails and tempting links. Invest in noise-canceling headphones to create a buffer against unwanted auditory intrusions. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant sounds of traffic, the conversations of others, these seemingly minor distractions can cumulatively erode your concentration. Silence them. Then consider the physical environment. A cluttered desk reflects a cluttered mind. Take the time to declutter your workspace, creating a clean, organized area that encourages focus. Think minimalist, a clean surface, essential tools within easy reach, and nothing to distract the eye. This doesn't have to be a sterile environment. A few carefully chosen personal touches can add warmth and comfort without compromising your focus. A plant, a motivational quote, a favorite photograph, these can enhance your mood and productivity without overwhelming your senses. Consider lighting. Harsh, fluorescent lights can be tiring and distracting. Soft, natural light is ideal, but if that's not possible, invest in a desk lamp that provides comfortable, focused illumination. The temperature of your workspace also matters. A room that's too hot or too cold can make it difficult to concentrate. Find a temperature that's comfortable for you and stick to it. Beyond the physical, consider the intangible. Your mental state plays a crucial role in your ability to focus. Practice mindfulness techniques to help center yourself and quiet the mental chatter that can interfere with concentration. Take short breaks throughout the day to stretch, walk around, or simply close your eyes and breathe deeply. These moments of respite can help refresh your mind and prepare you for another burst of focused work. Remember, creating a focused work environment is an ongoing process, a continuous refinement of your surroundings and habits. It's not a one-time fix, but a commitment to nurturing a space conducive to productivity. It's about creating a workspace that supports your goals, a sanctuary where you can fully immerse yourself in your work, free from the distractions that hold you back. Experiment, adjust, and refine your approach until you find the perfect balance between comfort, organization, and focus. Your future self will thank you for it. The rewards of a distraction-free workspace are immense: increased productivity, reduced stress, and a profound sense of accomplishment. It's an investment in your success, a commitment to unlocking your full potential. Embrace the power of a focused environment and watch your productivity soar. This isn't just about getting things done, it's about doing them with intention, with clarity, and with unwavering focus. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your potential. It's about transforming your relationship with work from one of struggle to one of effortless flow. And it all begins with eliminating those distractions that hold you back from reaching your full potential. Make the change and feel the difference. The truth is, conquering procrastination isn't just about sheer willpower, it's about crafting a system, a supportive ecosystem that nurtures consistent progress. And that's where the magic of self-reward comes in. It's not about indulging in extravagant treats every time you tick off a task, although a small, occasional treat can be a wonderful motivator. It's about understanding the profound power of positive reinforcement, of acknowledging your achievements, big and small, and celebrating your victories along the way. Think of it as building a positive feedback loop. You complete a task, no matter how minuscule it may seem in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it's finally organizing that cluttered drawer, or writing a single paragraph of that daunting report. And for that accomplishment, you consciously reward yourself. This isn't about bribery, it's about acknowledging your effort and reinforcing the behavior you want to cultivate: consistent action. What constitutes a reward is entirely personal. For some, it might be a quiet cup of their favorite tea, savored without distraction. For others, it might be a short walk in nature, a chance to disconnect from the screen and reconnect with the world around them. Perhaps it's listening to a favorite song, reading a chapter of an engrossing book, or indulging in a few minutes of mindful meditation. The key is to choose rewards that genuinely resonate with you, things that bring you joy and a sense of calm. The beauty of this approach lies in its adaptability. The reward doesn't need to be grand, its value lies in its consistency and its connection to the accomplishment. Small, frequent rewards are far more effective than infrequent, large ones. The goal is to create a sense of ongoing satisfaction, a feeling of steady progress, rather than a sporadic burst of excitement followed by a crash. Think about it: the consistent drip, drip, drip of positive reinforcement is far more effective than a single, overwhelming torrent of reward. This consistent positive feedback loop gradually strengthens your neural pathways, reinforcing the habit of completing tasks, and making it easier to stay on track. You're essentially training your brain to associate productivity with pleasure, making the entire process more enjoyable and sustainable. This isn't about instant gratification, it's about cultivating a long-term relationship with productivity. It's about building a system where completing tasks naturally leads to a feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction. It's about fostering a sense of self-efficacy, a belief in your ability to achieve your goals. Consider creating a reward system tailored to your specific needs and preferences. Perhaps you could use a reward chart, a simple visual representation of your progress, marking each completed task with a satisfying checkmark. Or maybe you prefer a digital system, using a productivity app to track your achievements and schedule your rewards. Experiment with different methods until you find the one that works best for you. Remember, this isn't about escaping the work, it's about making the process more rewarding and enjoyable. It's about transforming the feeling of obligation into a sense of accomplishment and pride. It's about creating a positive association between effort and reward, making the journey towards productivity a more fulfilling and sustainable experience. The key is to find what truly motivates you, to discover those small joys that celebrate your progress and keep you moving forward. Because the ultimate reward isn't just the completion of the task, it's the cultivation of a consistent, productive mindset. It's about building a relationship with yourself, based on encouragement and self-compassion. It's about celebrating your wins, however small, and using that positive reinforcement to fuel your journey towards sustained productivity. Embrace the power of self-reward. It's the key to unlocking your true potential. It's the secret ingredient to transforming procrastination into a productive, fulfilling life. It's the bridge between where you are now and where you aspire to be. And it all starts with one small, rewarding step. We've all been there. The meticulously crafted schedule crumbles. The deadlines loom, mocking our best intentions. We miss a target, stumble, fall. And in that moment of failure, the inner critic emerges, harsh and unforgiving. It whispers doubts, amplifies our shortcomings, and threatens to derail the entire process. But what if I told you that the key to lasting productivity isn't avoiding setbacks, but embracing them? What if the path to consistent achievement runs through the valley of self-compassion? This seventh step, practicing self-compassion, is arguably the most crucial. It's the bedrock upon which all the previous steps, the planning, the prioritizing, the time-blocking, truly stand. Without it, the edifice of productivity will inevitably crumble under the weight of self-criticism and relentless pressure. Think of it this way: imagine a marathon runner. They don't expect to run flawlessly from start to finish. They anticipate stumbles, fatigue, and moments of doubt. They build in rest periods, they adjust their pace, and crucially, they offer themselves kindness and understanding when things get tough. They acknowledge that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities for learning and growth. They don't beat themselves up for a missed step, they analyze what happened, adjust their strategy, and keep moving forward. That's the essence of self-compassion. It's not about self-indulgence or lowering your standards. It's about recognizing that you are human, capable of both brilliance and imperfection. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a close friend facing similar challenges. When you stumble, when you miss a deadline, or when a task feels overwhelmingly daunting, pause. Breathe. Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. Don't label yourself as a failure, label the event as a setback. This subtle shift in perspective can make all the difference. Ask yourself, what happened? What contributed to this setback? Was it a lack of planning? A distraction? Burnout? Honest self-reflection, devoid of self-blame, is key. The goal isn't to punish yourself for falling short, but to understand why you fell short. Once you've identified the contributing factors, you can formulate a plan to address them. Perhaps you need to refine your time-blocking strategy, eliminate more distractions, or schedule more breaks to prevent burnout. This proactive approach transforms setbacks from sources of despair into opportunities for improvement. Self-compassion also involves recognizing your strengths and celebrating your accomplishments, no matter how small. Acknowledge the progress you've made, the challenges you've overcome, and the positive changes you've implemented. This positive reinforcement helps build resilience and motivates you to continue moving forward. Remember, progress is not linear. There will be ups and downs, successes and setbacks. The journey to consistent productivity is a marathon, not a sprint. Embrace the inevitable challenges, learn from your mistakes, and treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer your best friend. This is the cornerstone of sustainable productivity, self-compassion. It's not a weakness, it's your superpower. It's the fuel that keeps you going, even when the going gets tough. It's the quiet voice that reminds you of your strength, your resilience, and your capacity for growth. Embrace it, nurture it, and watch your productivity soar to new heights. Because self-compassion isn't just about overcoming setbacks, it's about building a sustainable relationship with yourself, one that fosters resilience, growth, and ultimately, lasting success. It's about building a foundation of self-belief that allows you to weather the storms and emerge stronger on the other side. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't tied to your productivity, but that your productivity is enhanced by your self-worth. So, be kind to yourself. You deserve it. And your future self will thank you for it. The journey towards productivity is a personal one, and self-compassion is the compass guiding you towards lasting success. Remember that, and let it be your constant companion on this transformative journey. Don't let the setbacks define you, let your resilience define your success. And remember, every stumble is a step closer to your ultimate goal. Embrace the journey, embrace the learning, and embrace the power of self-compassion. The transformation wasn't just about ticking boxes on a to-do list, It was a profound shift in my relationship with time, work, and myself. The results? Nothing short of remarkable. Where once I felt the crushing weight of undone tasks, a constant hum of anxiety buzzing beneath the surface, I now experience a sense of calm control, a quiet confidence that I can handle whatever the day throws at me. The overwhelming feeling of being perpetually behind, that suffocating sense of inadequacy, has lifted. It's been replaced by a steady, satisfying rhythm of accomplishment. My productivity soared. Not just in terms of the sheer volume of work completed, but in the quality of the work itself. The projects I tackled were no longer rushed, frantic attempts to meet deadlines, but carefully considered, thoughtfully executed endeavors. I found myself able to dedicate more time and energy to each task, resulting in superior output and a deeper sense of satisfaction. The difference is stark, a testament to the power of focused intention and strategic planning. It's like comparing a hastily scribbled note to a meticulously crafted masterpiece. The reduction in stress was equally significant. The constant pressure, the nagging worry about unfinished business, the perpetual feeling of being swamped, these were all things of the past. I discovered a newfound mental clarity, a freedom from the mental clutter that had previously weighed me down. My mind, once a battlefield of competing anxieties, now operates with a serene efficiency. Sleep became deeper, more restorative. My relationships thrived, unburdened by the tension and irritability that had previously characterized my interactions. I found myself more present, more engaged, more genuinely connected to the people around me. And then there's the sense of accomplishment. This isn't just about ticking off items on a list, it's about the deep, abiding feeling of having mastered something significant within myself. It's the quiet pride in overcoming a lifelong struggle, the satisfaction of transforming a weakness into a strength. This sense of accomplishment radiates outwards, influencing every aspect of my life. It fuels my ambition, sharpens my focus, and inspires me to reach for even greater heights. It's a feeling I wouldn't trade for anything. This wasn't a magical overnight transformation, it was a conscious, deliberate process, a journey of self-discovery and mindful action. But the results? They speak for themselves. The increased productivity is undeniable. The reduction in stress is palpable. The sense of accomplishment is profound and enduring. This transformation wasn't just about changing my external circumstances, it was about fundamentally changing my internal landscape. It was about reclaiming my time, my energy, and my sense of self. It was, quite simply, life-changing. And the best part? It's a journey anyone can embark on. The tools and techniques are available, the power to transform lies within each of us. The only thing holding you back is the decision to begin. The decision to choose productivity over procrastination. The decision to take control of your time and your life. The decision to unlock your own extraordinary potential. The decision is yours. So, you've made it this far. You're ready to tackle procrastination, to finally break free from that cycle of overwhelm and underachievement. That's fantastic. But I know what you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually do it? What practical steps can I take? That's precisely what I'm here to share. This isn't just about theory, it's about tangible tools and techniques that worked for me, and that I believe can work for you. First, let's talk about task management. For years, I relied on to-do lists, but I consistently found myself overwhelmed by their length and complexity. The sheer number of tasks felt insurmountable, leading to procrastination. Then, I discovered the power of breaking down large tasks into smaller, bite-sized chunks. Instead of write a chapter, my task became write 250 words. This seemingly small change was revolutionary. It made the overall goal feel less daunting, more manageable, and less likely to trigger my procrastination tendencies. You can use any number of apps for this: Todoist, any.do, even a simple notepad. The key is consistency, not the specific app. Next, prioritization. This is where the Eisenhower matrix, or urgent important matrix, becomes incredibly valuable. It helps you categorize tasks based on urgency and importance, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Don't get bogged down in less important tasks that steal time and energy from your priorities. Learn to say no, delegate when possible, and ruthlessly eliminate tasks that don't contribute to your larger goals. This was a game changer for me. Time blocking is another powerful technique. Schedule specific blocks of time for specific tasks. Treat these blocks like appointments you can't miss. This not only enhances focus but also creates a sense of structure and accountability. Experiment with different time blocks. Some people find the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break, incredibly effective. Others prefer longer, uninterrupted stretches. Find what works best for you and stick to it. Eliminating distractions is crucial. We live in a hyperconnected world, bombarded by notifications and interruptions. Identify your biggest distractions: social media, email, noisy environments, and actively work to minimize them. Turn off notifications, use website blockers, find a quiet workspace, or even utilize noise-canceling headphones. Creating a dedicated workspace, even if it's just a corner of your room, can significantly improve focus and productivity. Reward systems are essential for long-term success. Celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small. Treat yourself to something you enjoy after completing a task or reaching a milestone. This positive reinforcement is crucial for building momentum and maintaining motivation. The rewards don't have to be extravagant. A cup of coffee, a short walk, or a few minutes of your favorite hobby can be incredibly effective. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. Setbacks are inevitable. There will be days when you slip up, when procrastination wins. Don't beat yourself up about it. Acknowledge the setback, learn from your mistakes, and gently redirect your focus back to your goals. Self-criticism only fuels procrastination. Self-compassion empowers you to move forward. Beyond these core strategies, I found several tools immensely helpful. For note-taking and project management, I highly recommend Notion. Its flexibility allows for customization to fit various workflows. For focus and concentration, apps like Freedom and Forest are excellent at blocking distracting websites and apps. And for tracking progress and visualizing goals, consider using a habit tracker like Habitica, which gamifies habit formation. Explore different options, find what resonates with you and enhances your productivity. Remember, this isn't a race. It's a journey. There will be ups and downs, moments of frustration and moments of triumph. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and never stop learning and adapting. The tools and techniques I've shared are just starting points. Personalize them to fit your unique needs and preferences. Embrace the process, and you'll find yourself steadily moving from procrastination to productivity, one step at a time. Now go out there and conquer your to-do list. You've got this. So, let's address some common questions and misconceptions surrounding productivity. Many believe productivity is about working tirelessly, burning the candle at both ends, a relentless pursuit of output. That's a recipe for burnout, not sustainable success. True productivity isn't about sheer volume, it's about effectiveness, about achieving meaningful results with focused effort. The myth of the always-on individual needs to be debunked. Rest, relaxation, and mindful disengagement are not the enemies of productivity, they're essential components. They allow for mental rejuvenation, creative breakthroughs, and a sustained level of energy that outperforms relentless grinding. Think of it like a marathon, not a sprint. Consistent, well-paced progress wins the race. Another misconception is the idea that productivity hinges solely on individual willpower. While self-discipline plays a role, it's not the entire story. External factors significantly impact our ability to focus and produce effectively. Think about your environment. Is it conducive to concentration? Are you constantly bombarded by distractions? Do you have the right tools and resources at your disposal? Optimizing your workspace and minimizing interruptions is just as crucial as personal resolve. Many also struggle with the concept of prioritization. They try to tackle everything at once, leading to overwhelm and a sense of being perpetually behind. Effective prioritization isn't about doing everything, it's about identifying your most impactful tasks, the ones that move the needle the most, and focusing your energy there. Learn to say no to less important tasks, to delegate effectively, and to strategically allocate your time and effort. This is not about neglecting less important tasks entirely, but about consciously deciding when to attend to them. Another common pitfall is the pursuit of perfection. Striving for flawless execution can be paralyzing. It leads to procrastination, delays, and a crippling fear of making mistakes. Remember, progress is more important than perfection. Embrace imperfection as a stepping stone to improvement. Focus on completing tasks, learning from your errors, and iteratively refining your approach. Done is better than perfect. The pressure to constantly multitask is another significant hurdle. While it may seem efficient, multitasking actually reduces productivity. Our brains aren't designed for simultaneous focus on multiple complex tasks. Context switching leads to errors, reduced quality of work, and increased stress levels. Embrace single tasking, deeply focusing on one task at a time, and you'll find your output improves significantly. The quality of your work will be exponentially greater. Productivity isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining your approach. There will be days when you feel incredibly productive, and days when you struggle to get anything done. That's perfectly normal. Don't beat yourself up over setbacks. Embrace self-compassion, learn from your experiences, and keep moving forward. Consistency, not perfection, is the key. Finally, let's address the myth of the productivity hack. There's no magic bullet. There's no single technique or tool that will instantly transform you into a productivity powerhouse. Effective productivity is a holistic approach, a combination of mindful planning, strategic execution, and self-awareness. It's about understanding your individual needs and preferences, and tailoring your strategies accordingly. Experiment with different techniques, find what works for you, and consistently refine your approach. This journey of self-discovery and optimization is a continuous process. Remember, productivity is not about sacrificing your well-being at the altar of achievement. It's about creating a sustainable system that allows you to achieve your goals while maintaining your physical and mental health. It's about finding a balance between work and life, setting realistic expectations, and celebrating your progress along the way. It's about building a life you love, not just a to-do list you conquer. So, ditch the unrealistic expectations, embrace the process, and focus on building a sustainable, fulfilling, and truly productive life. Because true productivity is about more than just ticking items off a list, it's about living a life aligned with your values and aspirations. And that's a journey worth taking. So, you've reached the end of this journey, a journey through the labyrinth of procrastination, a journey that, I hope, has illuminated the path towards a more productive and fulfilling life. You've seen the strategies, understood the pitfalls, and perhaps even recognized a little bit of yourself in my own struggles. But knowledge alone is not enough. Knowledge is the seed, but action is the harvest. This isn't just about watching a video, it's about transforming your relationship with time, with tasks, with yourself. It's about reclaiming your agency, taking control of your narrative, and rewriting the story of your productivity. You've learned about identifying your procrastination triggers, breaking down overwhelming tasks, prioritizing effectively, mastering time blocking, eliminating distractions, rewarding your achievements, and practicing self-compassion. These aren't just theoretical concepts, they are practical tools designed to empower you. The question now is, what will you do with this newfound knowledge? Will you let it gather dust on the shelf of your mind, another piece of information swallowed and forgotten? Or will you embrace it, transforming it into the catalyst for positive change? The choice, my friends, is entirely yours. Don't let the weight of the challenge paralyze you. Don't fall prey to the insidious whispers of procrastination, telling you to wait for the perfect time, a time that will never arrive. The perfect time is now. This very moment is the fertile ground where your journey to productivity begins. Start small. Pick one thing. Just one. Perhaps it's identifying a single procrastination trigger, that endless scroll through social media, that nagging urge to check emails every 5 minutes, that overwhelming feeling of being unprepared. Once you've identified it, acknowledge it, and then, armed with this awareness, consciously choose to resist it. Or maybe it's breaking down one large, daunting task into smaller, more manageable steps. That looming project, that mountain of work that seems insurmountable, dissect it. Break it down into its component parts and tackle each piece one by one. Celebrate each small victory. The satisfaction of completing even a tiny fraction of the overall task will fuel your momentum. Perhaps it's simply committing to a single hour of focused work, free from distractions. Find a quiet space, turn off your notifications, and dedicate that hour to nothing but the task at hand. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish when you eliminate the noise and silence the inner critic. Whatever your starting point, remember this: it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Don't strive for an unattainable ideal, strive for consistent improvement. Each small step forward, each obstacle overcome, is a testament to your commitment, your resilience, and your growing mastery over your time and energy. Embrace the power of small wins. Acknowledge your efforts, celebrate your successes, and learn from your setbacks. Remember, self-compassion is not self-indulgence, it's the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets tough. This journey won't be easy. There will be days when you falter, days when you stumble, days when you feel like giving up. But remember this: every great achievement is built on a foundation of consistent effort, perseverance, and the unwavering belief in your own ability to succeed. So, what will it be? Will you remain trapped in the cycle of procrastination, allowing it to dictate your life? Or will you seize the reins, take control of your destiny, and embark on a path toward greater productivity, fulfillment, and a life lived on your own terms? The answer, as always, lies within you. Take that first step. Start today. Start now. The power to transform your life is within your grasp. Don't let it slip away. The future you will thank you for it. And I believe in you. I truly do. Now go out there and conquer your procrastination. You've got this. Thank you for joining me on this journey. We've explored the labyrinth of procrastination, navigated its treacherous twists and turns, and uncovered strategies to transform its paralyzing grip into a powerful engine of productivity. Remember, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. The path to lasting productivity isn't paved with overnight successes, but with the consistent, unwavering commitment to progress, even on the smallest of scales. Think back to those initial moments of overwhelm, the weight of unfinished tasks pressing down, the insidious whisper of doubt suggesting that tomorrow will be different, that tomorrow, somehow, you'll magically find the energy and focus you lack today. Tomorrow never comes, however, unless we actively cultivate it through our daily actions. This isn't about achieving perfection, it's about embracing progress. Each small step, each completed task, no matter how seemingly insignificant, represents a victory. It's a testament to your dedication, your self-belief, and your unwavering commitment to breaking free from the chains of procrastination. Celebrate these small victories, acknowledge your efforts, and allow yourself the satisfaction of progress made. Because these small victories accumulate, building momentum, fostering confidence, and ultimately leading to the larger accomplishments you envision. Remember the power of breaking down those seemingly insurmountable tasks into bite-sized pieces. This isn't about diminishing the importance of your goals, but about making them manageable, less intimidating. It's about creating a pathway to success, a series of achievable milestones that keep you motivated and moving forward. Think of it as climbing a mountain. You wouldn't attempt to reach the summit in a single bound. Instead, you'd take it one step at a time, celebrating each gain in altitude, each conquered incline. And remember the importance of self-compassion. There will be days when you falter, when the momentum wanes, when the siren song of procrastination whispers its seductive promises. These are not failures, they are opportunities for learning, for growth, for refining your strategies. Acknowledge these setbacks, forgive yourself, and use them as valuable lessons to fuel your future efforts. Don't let a temporary stumble derail your entire journey. Dust yourself off, recalibrate, and keep moving forward. Productivity isn't a destination, it's a journey, a continuous process of learning, adapting, and refining your approach. It's about cultivating a mindset of consistent action, of embracing challenges, and of celebrating every step forward, no matter how small. It's about understanding your unique working style, identifying your personal triggers, and developing strategies that work best for you. This journey is personal, and your success will be defined by your commitment and your willingness to adapt and grow. So, as you embark on this journey, remember the power of consistent effort. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter, more efficiently, and more intentionally. It's about aligning your actions with your goals, creating a system that supports your aspirations, and nurturing a mindset that embraces progress over perfection. This isn't a race against others, it's a race against yourself, a quest to unlock your full potential, to achieve the things that truly matter to you. And remember, the reward isn't just increased productivity, it's the profound sense of accomplishment, the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've overcome challenges, and the deep sense of self-respect that comes from consistently striving towards your goals. The journey itself is transformative, it shapes you, strengthens you, and empowers you to achieve far more than you ever thought possible. So go forth, armed with the knowledge and strategies we've explored today. Embrace the process, celebrate the small wins, and never underestimate the power of consistent, dedicated effort. Your journey to lasting productivity begins now. Thank you for watching, and may your path be filled with progress, purpose, and profound accomplishment. Remember, consistent effort is the cornerstone of lasting productivity, and you have the power within you to achieve it. Believe in yourself, trust the process, and keep moving forward. Your future self will thank you for it.